president or he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. He certainly deserves to spend the rest of his life in prison. I think
what can only be described as the political equivalent of a heavyweight championship fight. Legal powerhouse George Conway has absolutely eviscerated former President Donald Trump and his loyal puppet Senator J.D. Vance in a no-holds-barred verbal assault that has left the political world reeling. Sources close to the situation claim that Conway's devastating takedown has sent shockwaves through the corridors of power, with some insiders suggesting that this could mark the beginning of the end for Trump's iron grip on the Republican Party. The fireworks began when Conway, never one to mince words, branded Vance an embarrassment to the prestigious Yale Law School they both attended. But that was just the opening salvo in what quickly escalated into a full-blown demolition of two of the Republican Party's most controversial figures. They are not going to obey court orders, Conway thundered, exposing what he claims is their sinister plan to push the boundaries of executive power to dangerous new extremes. They have decided that they are going to infringe on Article 1 power. Conway's takedown wasn't just brutal, it was methodical. The legal experts systematically dismantled Trump's entire persona, describing the former president as a matushka, doll of lies and mendacity who will lie about lying about lying about lying. It's an assessment so devastating that even hardened political observers were left gasping. But the shocking revelations didn't stop there. Conway dropped a bombshell about the true nature of Trump's character that sent shockwaves through the political landscape. He's a narcissistic sociopath. That's the thing everyone has to get used to. It's the reason why you cannot normalize him. For those who have followed Conway's ongoing feud with Trump, this latest chapter represents an extraordinary escalation. Conway didn't just criticize the former president. He obliterated him with a precision that left nothing to the imagination. There's no strategy. There's nitrogen monoxide thought, Conway declared, dismissing Trump's supposed political genius as nothing more than empty bluster. He lives in this world where there's just him. None of us matter. Those people don't matter. They're not real people to him. The explosive tirade continued as Conway painted a picture of a man utterly devoid of basic human empathy. He is a man with nitrogen monoxide empathy, a man with nitrogen monoxide conscience. It's just him. These incendiary comments have already sparked furious debate across social media platforms, with hashtags related to the feud trending worldwide. But Conway wasn't finished, not by a long shot. He turned his sights on J.D. Vance, the best-selling author of Hillbilly Elegy turned senator, who has hitched his political wagon firmly to Trump's star. According to Conway, Vance is nothing more than a fraud masquerading as a champion of the working class while being completely out of touch with their realities. He's the kind of guy who speaks in sound bites that sound smarter than they are, Conway blasted, reducing Vance's entire political persona to a carefully constructed facade, the embodiment of empty rhetoric, the type of guy who tries to sound profound while desperately hoping no one realizes he doesn't actually know what he's talking about. In perhaps the most damning assessment of Vance's political career, Conway suggested the senator is nothing more than a shallow opportunist. You could listen to him for hours and still have no idea what his actual stance on anything is, because the only thing he truly believes in is being as bland as possible to avoid offending anyone. The scorching criticism didn't end there. Conway went on to expose what he sees as the hollow core of Vance's political identity. His whole political career has been built on the idea that he's somehow the voice of the working class, despite the fact that he's spent most of his life firmly entrenched in the upper echelons of society. Conway's blistering attack has sent shockwaves through Republican circles, with insiders scrambling to assess the potential damage to both Trump and Vance's political futures. The timing couldn't be worse for the pair, who have been positioning themselves as the future of the Republican Party. What makes Conway's takedown all the more powerful is the personal connection. As a fellow Yale Law School graduate, his assessment of Vance carries extra weight. When asked what Vance might have learned during his time at the prestigious institution, Conway was merciless. What he might have gotten out of Yale Law School would be just sort of trying to be ethereal. It's an odd place to go to law school, because a lot of people end up not being lawyers and they end up just doing something else. This not-so-subtle suggestion that Vance lacks the substance to back up his legal credentials has left the senator's supporters fuming, with many taking to social media to defend their champion against what they see as an unfair character assassination. But Conway wasn't interested in playing nice. He continued his relentless assault, comparing Trump's political acumen to that of a toddler playing chess against a grandmaster, and dismissing his understanding of politics as shallow as a puddle. These scathing comments have already generated thousands of memes and viral clips across the internet. Perhaps most alarming to Trump and Vance supporters were Conway's dire warnings about the implications of their approach to governance. The rule of law as far as the federal government is concerned is over, Conway cautioned, his voice heavy with concern. That is something we need to start focusing on and discussing, because that's where these people will go. The chilling prediction didn't stop there. Conway painted a dystopian picture of what America might look like under continued Trump influence. There's no logical stopping point for them. The only recourse will be for people to get out and say we want the rule of law. We want a government that obeys the law, and that's going to require people to go out on the streets. These inflammatory comments have already sparked heated debates about the future of American democracy, with political analysts rushing to weigh in on Conway's claims. Some have dismissed his concerns as hyperbole, while others warn that his prediction should be taken seriously given his intimate knowledge of both the legal system and the Republican Party's inner workings. What makes this feud particularly fascinating is Conway's insider perspective. As someone who once considered working in the Trump administration, before having what he described as this queasy feeling, his criticisms carry a weight that other Trump critics simply can't match. I was just watching the show that was going on with the Russia happening, and with the firing of Comey, Conway revealed, providing a rare glimpse into the chaotic early days of the Trump presidency. His decision to distance himself from the administration now looks prescient. In light of the events that followed, the explosive nature of Conway's attacks has left many wondering what Trump and Vance might do to respond. Known for his quick and often vicious counterattacks, Trump has yet to issue a direct response to Conway's latest salvo, leading some to speculate that the former president might be reconsidering his usual strategy of immediate retaliation. As for Vance, his position appears increasingly precarious, caught between defending his mentor and protecting his own carefully crafted political image. The senator finds himself in what political insiders are calling an impossible position. His response to Conway's devastating critique could define the next phase of his political career. What makes this political showdown so captivating is that Conway isn't just attacking Trump and Vance's policies, he's attacking their very character, their motivations, and their fitness for office. It's a brutal assessment that goes far beyond the usual political disagreements to question the very essence of who these men are. Trump's whole political persona is based on the idea that he's some sort of self-made genius. Conway mocked, when in reality, he's about as self-made as a prepackaged sandwich from the gas station. It's the kind of stinging rebuke that is likely to infuriate Trump, who has always been sensitive to criticisms of his business acumen and personal wealth. Conway's vicious takedown didn't stop at questioning Trump's business credentials. He went further, suggesting that Trump has never worked an honest day in his life, unless you count dodging taxes and bankrupting multiple businesses as hard work. This devastating characterization has already been seized upon by Trump's political opponents, who see it as confirmation of their long-held criticisms. But perhaps most damaging of all was Conway's assessment of Trump's political strategy, or lack thereof. Everybody overthinks this guy, Conway declared, dismissing the idea that there's any grand plan behind Trump's actions. There's no strategy, there's no thought, and the brand is just him. This portrayal of Trump as a man driven purely by ego rather than any coherent political philosophy is likely to enrage the former president, who has always insisted that his political moves are part of a carefully crafted master plan. Conway's suggestion that it's all just improvisation fueled by narcissism strikes at the very heart of Trump's carefully constructed self-image. For Vance, Conway's criticisms are equally cutting, by describing him as someone who has the audacity to pretend he understands the people of Ohio, when in reality, he's just another rich guy with a shiny suit. Conway has potentially undermined Vance's entire political persona in a single sentence. The timing of Conway's explosive intervention couldn't be more significant. With political tensions already running high, his comments have poured fuel onto an already raging fire, potentially reshaping the political landscape for months to come. What makes Conway's takedown so powerful is that he doesn't just criticize Trump and Vance, he exposes what he sees as the dangerous consequences of their approach to politics. By exposing Trump and Vance for their incompetence and lack of integrity, Conway is doing what so many of us wish we had the courage to do. According to political commentators who have praised his willingness to speak out, the fallout from this extraordinary war of words is likely to be felt for weeks, if not months. Trump supporters have already begun rallying to his defense, dismissing Conway as a Reno Republican in name only with a personal vendetta against the former president. Vance's backers, meanwhile, have accused Conway of elitism and snobbery, suggesting that his criticisms are motivated by jealousy of Vance's literary and political success. But Conway appears undeterred by the backlash. His willingness to take on two of the most powerful figures in the Republican Party suggests a confidence in his assessments that will not be easily shaken. Whether his criticisms will ultimately damage Trump and Vance's standing among voters remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, this feud is far from over. In what might be his most shocking allegation, Conway suggested that Trump is not just politically misguided, but actually dangerous to American democracy itself. I don't want to see a Republican Party led by a fascist, but he is a fascist. He cannot help but be a fascist. His personality disorders make him a fascist. This explosive characterization has already been condemned by Trump's allies as going too far. But Conway appears unmoved by their criticisms. His willingness to use such charged language reflects the depth of his concern about the direction of the Republican Party. Under Trump's influence, for political observers, this extraordinary clash represents more than just a personal feud. It's a battle for the very soul of the Republican Party, with Conway representing the traditional establishment wing and Trump and Vance embodying the populist movement that has transformed the party in recent years. The question now is whether Conway's blistering critique will have any lasting impact on public perception of Trump and Vance. While his comments have generated significant attention, Trump has survived countless scandals and criticisms in the past, emerging relatively unscathed each time. What makes this situation different, however, is Conway's credibility as a conservative voice. Unlike critics from the left, Conway cannot be easily dismissed as partisan. His Republican credentials and legal background give his criticisms a weight that others might lack. For Vance, the stakes are particularly high, still relatively new to national politics. His reputation is more vulnerable to damage than Trump's. Conway's suggestion that he is an embarrassment to their shared alma mater could potentially undermine his carefully cultivated image as an intellectual conservative voice. The dramatic confrontation has already sparked discussions about the future of American politics, with many wondering if this represents a turning point in how Republican figures engage with Trump and his allies. Conway's willingness to speak so forcefully could potentially embolden others who have previously been hesitant to criticize the former president. What's clear is that Conway's explosive intervention has added yet another chapter to the ongoing saga of American political drama. Whether it will ultimately be remembered as a significant moment in the decline of Trump's influence, or simply another passing controversy in a turbulent political era, remains to be seen. For now, all eyes are on Trump and Vance, waiting to see how they respond to Conway's devastating critique. Will they fight back with their usual vigor, or will they adopt a more measured approach? The answer could reveal much about their political strategy going forward. As this sensational story continues to develop, one thing is certain: the political landscape has been shaken by Conway's remarkable willingness to speak truth to power. In an era often characterized by calculation and caution, his brutal honesty stands out as a rare example of political courage. The fallout from this extraordinary public clash is likely to reverberate through political circles for weeks to come, potentially reshaping alliances and influencing strategies as both sides assess the damage and plot their next moves. For Conway, this represents a bold statement of political principles, a line in the sand that separates his vision of conservatism from the brand represented by Trump and Vance. Whether others will follow his lead in speaking out so forcefully remains to be seen. What cannot be denied is the dramatic impact of his words. By attacking not just Trump and Vance's policies, but their very character and motivations, Conway has escalated the conflict to a new level of personal animosity. The political world now watches with bated breath to see what happens next in this extraordinary feud between three of the most recognizable figures in American conservative politics. Will it mark the beginning of a more widespread rebellion against Trump's influence? Or will it ultimately be remembered as a lone voice crying in the wilderness? Either way, Conway's explosive critique has undoubtedly added yet another fascinating chapter to the ongoing drama of American politics. The reverberations from his scathing assessment will be felt for many months to come, potentially reshaping the political landscape in ways that are still difficult to predict. As one political insider put it, this isn't just a disagreement about policy or strategy. This is a fundamental clash of visions about what the Republican Party should stand for and who should lead it. It's a clash that shows no signs of resolution anytime soon, promising more drama and controversy in the months ahead. For now, the political world holds its collective breath, waiting to see how this explosive confrontation will develop. One thing is certain: in the high-stakes world of American politics, this feud is far from over. The next chapter promises to be equally dramatic and potentially even more consequential for all involved. Insider sources reveal that Trump's inner circle is in absolute panic mode following Conway's blistering attack. They're scrambling to contain the damage, whispered one Washington insider who requested anonymity to speak freely. Trump is absolutely livid. He's been raging behind closed doors, demanding loyalty from everyone around him while plotting his revenge on Conway. The fallout has been so severe that several prominent Republicans are reportedly reconsidering their allegiance to Trump, fearing that Conway's criticisms might resonate with voters who had previously remained loyal to the former president. There's genuine fear that Conway might have cracked the foundation of Trump's support. Another source claimed his attacks hit particularly hard because they come from within conservative circles. They can't just dismiss him as a liberal critic. Political analysts are already calling this the Conway effect, a potentially game-changing moment that could reshape Republican politics for years to come. What makes Conway's takedown so devastating is that he articulates what many Republicans have been thinking privately but have been too afraid to say publicly, explained political strategist Marcus Reynolds. He's given voice to the concerns that have been bubbling beneath the surface for years. The dramatic fallout has extended to J.D. Vance's office, where staffers are reportedly in crisis mode, desperately trying to craft a response that defends their boss without alienating Trump supporters. Vance is in an impossible position, revealed one Senate aide familiar with the situation. He needs to stand by Trump to maintain support from the base. But Conway's criticisms of his intellectual credentials have really stung him personally. Media outlets across the political spectrum have been in a frenzy, covering the explosive confrontation, with Conway's comments generating record-breaking viewership numbers for political talk shows. This isn't just another political spat, explained media analyst Samantha Torres. This is a full-blown war for the soul of the Republican Party, and viewers can't get enough of it. Conway's willingness to use such incendiary language has shocked even his allies, with some suggesting that he's now gone all in on his mission to reclaim the Republican Party from Trump's influence. There's no going back for George now, commented one longtime associate. He's burned every bridge with the Trump wing of the party, but he genuinely believes he's fighting for the future of American democracy itself. The explosive nature of Conway's comments has even attracted international attention, with foreign leaders reportedly watching the situation closely for signs of shifting political winds in America. The world is wondering if this represents the beginning of the end for Trumpism, noted international relations expert Dr. Elena Vasquez. Conway has articulated the case against Trump more powerfully than perhaps anyone before him. Body language experts who have analyzed footage of Conway's remarks note that he displayed none of the usual signs of nervousness or hesitation, suggesting a man utterly convinced of the righteousness of his cause. He was calm, composed, and deadly serious, noted behavioral analyst Dr. James Morton. This wasn't a performance. This was a man speaking his truth regardless of the consequences.